Hey everyone, my name is Nathan Cooper and welcome back to SIS Film Breakdowns. The next episode in this Sports Info Solutions video series showcases Pittsburgh cornerback Dane Jackson. A captain for Pitt, Jackson played in 50 games, piling up 150 career tackles and 46 pass breakups during his 4 years with the Panthers. At the Combine, he measured in at 5 feet, 11 and 5/8 inches, 187 pounds. He put up some solid numbers in Indianapolis, including a 4.27 short shuttle and a 7.07 three-cone. We're going to take a look at some plays from his 2018 game against Wake Forest and 2019 games against Penn State and UCF, while also looking at some one-on-ones from Senior Bowl practice. We're going to start off with 4 plays from Senior Bowl practice. These 4 plays all happen in the same one-on-one period and give a good idea of what Jackson brings to the table and what we'll see in game situations later in this breakdown. Going up against Van Jefferson in press coverage, who, as we saw in previous breakdowns, is a very good technical route runner. Now, as we play this route here, Jackson does a very good job not biting on any of the stems that Jefferson gives, reads the short dig route well, and transitions well out of the break. Plays through Jefferson's hands to the ball and breaks up the pass. Now he's matched up against Devin Duvernay out of Texas, who is going to hitch up at about 7 yards. So here, just off the snap, Jackson gives a little punch, isn't incredibly accurate with it. You can see here a little bit inaccurate, and that's something he actually struggled consistently. But after that, he does a good job shadowing the receiver, breaking down quickly, and transitioning to again play through the hands to the ball and break up another pass. On this third play, he's up against Duvernay again. At the snap, we see his punch is a little bit more accurate this time, and he's playing stronger with more physicality. In a game situation, this could be flagged, but in this case, he does a good job sticking with Duvernay, smoothly flipping his hips at the top of the route and swiping down through the hands to break up the pass. If you watch Pitt play the last handful of seasons, you'd know their secondary plays very physical and in turn gets a lot of pass interference penalties called on them. Something Jackson knows all about and will have to watch when transitioning to the next level. On this last play, he's going up against another Texas receiver in Colin Johnson and is now playing off instead of pressed. Johnson's going to run a dig route here with a lot of different stems to get Jackson guessing. In an off man, Jackson doesn't get the opportunity to be physical and attempts to guess a little bit too much instead of relying on his radioactive athleticism. The first 2 stems that Johnson gives makes Jackson turn and run, and he really gets fooled here. Gets fooled easily, turns and runs down the field. Johnson actually has the whole entire middle of the field uncovered for a wide open reception. That's something that Jackson's going to have to work on, using his reactive athleticism a little bit more. Now that we've seen some reps of him playing man coverage in press and off, we see what he did in 2019 in those situations. In press, he only allowed 0.58 yards per snap with 17 targets. In an off man, although a smaller sample size, he gave up over a yard per snap on 5 targets with a 100% deserved catch rate. Watching the film and seeing the numbers, it's easy to see which he's most comfortable in. Now we're going to take what we saw in one-on-ones and get into some true game reps, first against Penn State. He's lined up down here at the bottom of the screen in press coverage. This is going to be an RPO that's handed off for a run play, but it's important when scouting corners to not skip over run plays. There's still a lot that can be gained from watching reps on run plays such as this one. Now when we snap the ball here, we see Jackson backpedal and then try to punch. You can see how inaccurate the punch is and how he's falling off balance. He tries to reach out and punch while he's falling back on his heels here, and that makes the punch weak and inaccurate, and then this gets him out of position. As we keep playing the play here, he's out of position, has no chance to catch back up here to the inside. And if this is pulled and thrown, it's an easy touchdown for the offense. Here's the Wake Forest game from 2018. He's lined up at the bottom of the screen again, but this time to the offense's right. This is going to be a sort of bubble screen to the slot receiver. Now watch as Jackson reads this play, comes off his man and meets the ball at the receiver. This is a high football IQ play, not just reading and playing his man, but recognizes the play, comes off of his responsibility, and makes a really good football play, laying a big hit on the receiver and breaks up the pass. Again from the Wake Forest game, this time he's lined up down at the bottom of the screen to the offense's left on the single receiver side. He's pressed, but at the snap is going to zone turn and bail off the line. The receiver is going to run a deep curl route at about 12 to 13 yards here. Jackson does a good job watching the quarterback. He has his eyes in Jackson's direction while still keeping tabs on his man. He's able to break down quickly and reach around the receiver here to make a good play and knock the ball away. It was a smart play to not go through the receiver, which likely would have been flagged, and Jackson can get himself in trouble a little bit whenever he's in press bail like this, especially giving up in-breaking routes and loses contact not being able to stay in phase, but on this play does a good job reading the play and coming through to break up the pass. Now from the UCF game this season. This time he's in press coverage at the top of the screen to the offense's right. Although he looks to be in man-to-man, it's zone coverage overall, and he just mans up his guys since he's the only threat. At the snap of the ball, he gives a quick punch here, but doesn't get much behind it as we can see, and he almost nearly falls off balance after extending out for the punch. After that, he turns and runs with the receiver. One thing he likes to do is really turn quickly and get to the boundary, forcing the receiver outside and really making sure not to give up the middle of the field. There are some times that this backfires on him when he's not in the correct position, and he'll give up some big gains on in-breaking routes. But on this play, he does a good job staying with the receiver and matching him step for step. Once the receiver sits down at the top of the route here, we can really see Jackson able to stick his foot in the ground and transition quickly to stay with the receiver and force an incomplete pass. Back to 2018 in the Wake Forest game. He's lined up at the bottom of the screen in press coverage against Sage Surratt, a possible top receiver in the 2021 draft class. As we play it here, we can really see he does a good job battling and playing physical against a physical receiver who's wanting to play physical as well. Surratt gives a bit of a head slap here, but Jackson's unfazed and doesn't allow the contact to knock him off balance. And at the top of the route, we're really able to see Jackson's able to stay on Surratt's hip and go up and play through the hands and knock the ball away. Although his numbers and production in zone coverage dropped some from 2018 to 2019, when looking at both seasons combined, Jackson only allowed 0.48 yards per snap on 370 zone snaps. This last play is going to be a hurry up from Wake. Jackson is down at the bottom of the screen here to the right side of the offensive formation, pressed against Surratt again, this time in true man coverage, and Surratt is going to run a hitch at about 8 yards. Jackson does a really good job sticking to the hip. Although he's a little out of control at the top of the route here, Jackson's still able to stick his foot in the ground, plant, and come back through Surratt's hands to break up yet another pass. You can see he does a really good job sticking his feet in the ground and going through the hands to really break up the pass and get through the hands so Surratt's not able to complete the catch. Now as we look at this graphic of him in man coverage in 2019, he only gave up 0.58 yards per snap on 133 coverage snaps and a 33% positive play rate on 24 targets. When looking at his 2019 season as a whole, he allowed just 4.6 yards per attempt and 19.6 yards per game. And among defensive backs with a minimum of 25 targets, his yards per attempt ranked 4th and yards per game tied for 5th. Make sure to go get the SIS Football Rookie Handbook or register for a free trial on the SIS DataHub to see all of these stats and more for every player, and also tune in each week to the Off the Charts podcast. Thanks for watching SIS Film Breakdowns.